What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Heaven is Here podcast. I'm your host, Timothy, and I've been gone for a minute, guys. As you can tell right now, I'm a little bit sick. Yeah, change the scenery is just I'm most comfortable right now on my bed, and I've been feeling this way on and off for the past few days. And honestly, I was gonna push this episode here back again, but I feel like I've already been gone for too long, and I just feel like it's been months since I've spoken to you guys on here. So no more procrastinating, no more laying it off. I just I had to get this one off. Um Today we're in a bit more of a slippery subject. It's about how can we navigate and overcome lust in a more say sexualized world. This is going to be geared more towards young people, given I'm young, but if it can help older people out there, that would be great too. Um, I held a poll on our Instagram. If you don't follow Having This Here podcast on the Instagram, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? We 4 episodes into this. I'm starting to think you're a traitor, but just click that right there, and that'll get you taken care of, so you don't be missing any news or anything like that. But I held a poll on our story, and I asked the viewers, do you guys enjoy episodes longer than 30 minutes or shorter than 30 minutes? And the majority, I don't remember by what margin, but the majority of you said less than 30 minutes. So I'm going to start trying to push these episodes out more in a more impactful way, in a shorter time frame, a lot shorter time frame. I think everybody would be okay with that. I think I will like that, especially editing. So, but I want to finish out 2023. I don't want to miss another week. I'm trying to get them rolling. So I'm gonna remain in the book of Ecclesiastes for this topic, but before we dive into all that, I feel like I need to first define what lust is. I feel like it'll be kind of hard of us to go into details if we just don't have a definition out there. But of course, as any smart man would, I went to a very trusted friend. He's kind of a world-renowned scholar, Mr. Google, and I searched up what is lust, and Mr. Google said, he said, lust is a very strong sexual desire. Now, if we take that definition and apply it to, given how strong the desire, if we take that definition and apply it to, let's say, a married man, would we say that a married man with a good desire, a strong sexual desire towards his wife, would we say that is lust? Give or take, most likely not. So that's just a little bit of insight of how we'll dive into context around God's design for sexual desire. I want to start doing a lot more analogies, and one that stuck out to me for this topic would be a storm, a really bad storm, like a hurricane. So let's say in a literal storm, we have warnings. Hey, I don't know. I don't really know the codes, bro. I don't know the codes. Like, I don't know, code red, orange, blue, whatever, rainbow, code rainbow. I don't know. But depending on the severity of the storm, they're going to tell you what to do, what you should do. And just try and help everybody out. Maybe you should go there. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should board that. Maybe you should secure this. But depending on your weak points, depends on which precautions you should take, right? But only by knowing our weak points do we know which cautions should we pay closely attention to. Same way with lust being our hurricane, coming to destroy us and wreak havoc. We need to really ask ourselves, sit down and get deep within ourselves and say, where are my weak points? Now, in the digital age, a lot of people's weak points is on here. Let's go to Instagram. Who you following on Instagram, guys? Are you following girls? Every time you look at your feed, not the most modest, maybe a bikini photo from a sort of a more revealing angle. You know what I'm talking about? Girls, are you following guys that love the post workout, no shirt pics on, sweat dripping down, and that's not that deep to a lot of people, they say, but it only takes a little bit. You let little stuff like that in, it just opens the door. I used to say all it took was just let the door open a little bit. But bro, if you just unlock the door, the devil's busting through. And that's no less true with social media. Like if you start to form those lingering eyes, a popular saying in the world is like, the eyes are the window to the soul. I think that's somewhat true, because it's the windows to our hearts, and everything you do flows from your heart. So that also brings the question, how pure is your heart? Because that's going to determine how pure your actions are. How can you ever carry out pure actions if the root isn't, you get what I'm saying? It's just, you could try, but that's just a really hard thing to do. And I forgot to add in scripture like I usually do, but let me do that right now. This is from Ecclesiastes 11:9. Solomon says, young people, it's wonderful to be young. Enjoy every minute of it. Do everything you want to do. Take it all in. Now, most of us, we wish it just stopped right there, That's all we need to hear. I got a lot of things I'm about to go do just from reading that. But it doesn't stop right there. It goes on to say, but remember that you must give an account to God for everything you do. That changes a lot from that first sentence. I was about to go do this, and this, but that account to God part, that changes things. It should change things. Just because you can do whatever you want, especially in your youth, where you have the ability to do a lot, you shouldn't, And I know that's not advertised in our age, but let me add on to that. A little further down, we have Ecclesiastes 12:1. Don't let the excitement of youth cause you to forget your Creator. Honor Him in your youth before you grow old and say life is not pleasant anymore. See, a lot of people pull the YOLO, you only live once card, even though you live twice. But a lot of people pull the YOLO when they're young, say, bro, I got time to do that whole get right with God thing. I got time to settle down with one girl, get a wife, build a family. I got time for all that, bro. I got time for the simple life. Let me live wild. Let me live crazy while I'm young, while my body can handle it. And maybe your body can, but your soul can't. And that's what's really mattered. And that's what really matters here. This is temporary, very temporary. Let's look at, okay, so right now, with us being young, our earth lives laid out in front of us seem like that's a very long time. And from this perspective, yes, it is. But let's switch to the internal scope. How much longer will you be in heaven versus to the point you were on earth? Earth is a second at that point. What was earth? What is this? So why are you putting so much? You're putting too much value in this, saying you only have one life. You don't, buddy. And you're making a crucial mistake by thinking that way, because then you live with that everything goes mentality, especially with your purity and sexual purity. And that's not the case. Back to our storm preparation, we need to figure out where those little cracks are. We need to seal them up. Because if we don't, what? Water from the storm gets in. And if a little water gets in, a lot of water can get in. And that's when we flood. And that's when we drown. And that leads to death. And I'm not obviously talking about literal physical death, but even more worse than that, spiritual death. And that could be you let a little bit of water in, you're texting a certain type of woman. You let that in a little bit. You're entertaining that a little bit, Nothing big. Goes on from there. She asks you to come see her. Okay, we're just hanging out. We're cool. No biggie. People can hang out. Now we're touching each other, stuff like that. We're kissing each other. And you see where I'm going in it? And I know that's just a random scenario, but it's just things never end how they start, how they look to our view from the beginning. We just say it's a small thing and then it blows up, and then by the end of it, we have no control over our desires, over our flesh. But we could have if we recognized it. And that is my second point. We have to recognize patterns. What is a huge thing for meteorologists? That's right. What is a huge thing? Patterns. They recognize patterns of weather so they can predict the future. What is the pattern that you see yourself falling into things like lust and sexual immorality? Is it a certain app? Is it TikTok? Is it Snapchat? Is it Instagram? Think about these things. What is tripping you up along this walk of purity? Is it a certain place that you go to and it just makes you, I don't know. This is personal. You have to ask yourself these questions. Is it a certain person, certain friend, girlfriend, boyfriend? It could be a number of different things for different people, but you have to recognize these patterns, because by doing that, the next time it comes up, because the Bible never says if temptations come up. We're in the world, right? So there's no if temptations comes up, right? It's only when. So when these temptations arise, we can be prepared by recognizing our own weaknesses and our own patterns, and also rest on the promise of God that he will allow a way out for us from that temptation if we listen closely to him. So lust is like a wildfire. It consumes everything in you. It starts off just a spark, and then it shows no discrimination. It blazes everything. It blazes through relationships. It blazes through morals. It blazes through good conscience. It torches all of that. And it is very selfish in the moment. Once you get your weak points and then you get your patterns, now you're starting to develop a plan. I feel like all people that are good um preparers. I don't know, for bad weather. They always have a plan. Maybe a storm shelter or something like that. Now we're building our spiritual storm shelter. We've accessed our weak points. We've figured out our patterns. I probably shouldn't text that person. I probably shouldn't go to that website. I probably should. It could be anything again. It could be anything. There's nothing new under the sun. It could be anything. And whatever you're going through, know that you're not the only person going through it. There's numerous people going through the exact same thing that you are. Which brings us to another point: confession. And not only just confession to God, but to others around you. The devil paralyzes you by keeping you trapped in your own head, in your own space with your sins, so that you can try and hide them to yourself. But it's only putting a halt to your growth, because you're not allowing that accountability there for when you do mess up. I mean, nobody's perfect. So you need to, and you can't be vulnerable with, I'm not just saying be vulnerable with anyone, because that's not a good idea, because not everybody is meant to be your vulnerable type of friend or partner. That's just not but that's just not an anyone type of role. So find you a person that can you can be honest with now. No sugarcoat. Find you that person and be honest with them. You did something you shouldn't have, tell them. Because 9 times out of 10, if you pick the right person, they're not gonna sit there and condemn you. They'll be honest with you now, but they'll show you grace and compassion, and they'll show you the love of Jesus, and in that way you can grow by allowing somebody else to take a look at your open wound. And now it's just not one person trying to put themselves back together, but now you have 2 sets of hands. If you get what I'm saying. But I didn't want this to be very long. Obviously, you guys didn't either by the votes. But use some form of practical tip that I've listed out here. It may be one thing. It may be nothing. Maybe nothing I just said helps you. Maybe everything I just said helps you. It's different for everybody. But really digest it. If you know anybody struggling with stuff like this, share this with them. Just remember that 2 is a lot better than 1. And 3 is even better. So much better. Never go through stuff like this by yourself. You can, but it's that much harder. Anyways, love you guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so I'm having to toss this part on to the ending of that piece, because I forgot to go into the context part that I talked about at the beginning of this episode, and basically just explaining that there is a right time to indulge in your sexual desires, and that is in marriage. God never intended for, I feel like a lot of people feel like God has placed these restrictions on their lives, and just sort of like, well, why would he give me this just for me not to be able to do anything with this desire? And that's not the case at all. there is a time for you to act on that desire and, all of that good stuff. But in the context of marriage, in marriage only, if you want to please God, man, I'm really tired, man. It's like 2 a.m. I need to take some more medicine. But remember, context is key, guys. All of that lovebird stuff is amazing in the right time. And I know it's not easy. This is coming from a young, single Christian man. So I know the struggle, man. But I know that in the right timing, God, if it's in his will line all of that stuff up. So, I mean, there's nothing here for me to worry about. I just got to keep up my end and remain faithful to him. But even when I'm not faithful, he is, which is, I mean, you can spend however much time you want to get your head around that. But I'll see you guys in the next one. I need to get some rest. Love you guys. Peace.